Okay. Hi, everybody. This is Miss Wendy, Real Talk with Miss Wendy. And we are ready for chapter 13, Braiding and Braid Extensions. Not too bad of a chapter. It's got some really great information in it. Because I've said this before, you never know where your career is going to take you. You could say you have a complete destination in mind. I'm going to be a highlighting queen. And you get out there, and 2 years later, you realize it's hair cutting that you're specializing in, or it's braiding that you're specializing in. So don't close yourself off to what information you could be gathering while you're in school, because you just don't know what you're going to need, right? You got to have a whole arsenal, a whole toolbox full of knowledge, and this is going to help that. I'll go through my little spiel. I don't know every question in the book. If I don't know it, I'm going to look it up in my answer key. Sometimes I get them wrong, just like you do. If there's something you don't understand, please look it up in your book. Take the time to get the answer, because it may be the determining factor between a pass and a fail. Um, this is a Milady chapter. So, Milady has some ways that they like to do their tests. Some of the things they like to do is right here, they say the word accept a lot. When you see the word accept, that means three things look the same or true, and one is not, right? One is going to be out of place. It's the accept, right? Um, if you don't know the answer to a question, if you is a pure guess, you cannot use your critical thinking skills to eliminate any of the options. You're going to choose B. You're going to choose B every single time. It's the most commonly answered question is B. And if you Christmas tree your answers, you're more likely to miss all of them. But if you do the same letter all the way down, you're going to get a few of them right just by the fact that you chose the same letter all the way down. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get into chapter 13, braiding and braid extensions. All right, number one, you can see that there has a long options, right? The answers are long. I don't like reading them any more than you do, but the only way to get the information is to read it. So take your time, understand what it's saying before you move on to the next one. So here we go. All of the following are reasons to study braiding and braid extensions, except braiding salons are common among major metropolises across the United States, but can also be done at traditional salons. That's true. Federal and state employment laws with regard to natural hair styling in the workplace are becoming stricter. It doesn't really have anything to do with why we should study it, but we'll move on and just make sure. Services for braiding and braid extensions can be performed without harsh chemicals or altering naturally curly hair. That is true. Offering these services enhance stylist creativity and enables clients to express and project their self-image. That is also true. So it sounds to me like the only one that doesn't fit is B. So B would be the accept. We do not need to know to study braid and braid extensions. We don't need to know that the workplace for natural hairstyling is getting stricter, right? It has nothing to do with studying braiding and braid extensions. So your answer is going to be B. Just verifying yes. All right. Number two, consultations for braiding services require three specific considerations. All of the following are considerations except. So here's that word again, except, right? When you see except, three things are true, one thing is not true. It does not work with the sentence. So we've got identifying hair color, analyzing scalp condition, noting hair thinning, and determining curl configuration. Well, if I'm going to do a braiding service, I need to know all of these things, but I don't need to know what hair color they have. I don't need to know that it's a level 6, right? It makes no difference to me. I'm braiding. So all the other considerations would be something that you would want to know. All right. Number 3. Alopecia is a term used to describe what? Does it mean asymmetrical face shape, atypical hair shrinkage, artificial animal fibers, or abnormal hair loss. My brain's not working today. So alopecia is hair loss, right? It's abnormal hair loss. And we got to remember we're talking about braid and braiding services. So face shape would have nothing to do with it. Hair shrinkage might have something to do with it depending on what you're doing. And artificial animal fibers, yeah, they have, reference to braiding and braid extensions, of course. But abnormal hair loss is going to be your answer. So number 3 is D. Number 4, to stimulate the scalp, smooth, dry, textured hair, and remove lint and dirt from locks, you should use a what? A square paddle brush, a vent brush, a boar bristle brush, or a detangling brush. Okay, so what stands out for me here is the smooth, dry, textured hair, right? It's going to smooth the textured hair. So to me, the only one that really falls into place is your boar bristle brush. Let me just verify that. Number 4 is C. Yes. Boar bristle brush is definitely going to smooth, dry, textured hair. It's also going to remove lint. It's going to stimulate the scalp and get dirt out of locks. So we want to use a boar bristle brush. Number 5. Which comb type should be used to separate wet, curly hair? So if we want to separate wet curly hair, are we going to use a tail comb, a cutting comb, a finishing comb, or a double tooth comb? So I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this. Let me just verify. Yeah. All right. So the double tooth comb is going to be your answer. Another name for a double tooth comb is a detangling comb. So if we want to separate wet curly hair, we're going to need to also detangle it. So we're going to use a double tooth comb in order to separate that hair. All right, number 6. What is the name for a board containing fine upright nails that stylists use to comb human hair extensions and blend colors and highlights? A drawing board, a diffuser, Kanekalon, or a hackle? This is one of the ones that you're just going to have to know because you read your chapter, right? The answer to this one is going to be hackle. Let me see. Yeah. Hackle is your answer. It is the board that has all the nails on it. I don't know if you've ever seen one, but you'll see stylists will take a clump of, let's say, a level 5 hair and a clump of level 9 hair, and they will start running it through their hackle. And as they're running it through the hackle, it's getting more blended, right? It's becoming more colors or highlights depending on how much you pull it through the hackle. All right. Number 7. A budget-conscious client who is getting extensions wants a long-lasting natural look. The stylist determines it would be best to use standalone extensions. Considering this information, what would the stylist recommend? Kanekalon, alpaca fiber, human hair, or animal hair? Okay, the only one that is synthetic is the Kanekalon. And your synthetic hair is going to be a little bit less expensive than your human hair. Also, it's very well made, right? It's very well made synthetic hair. It handles high heat, things like that. So that's the one that you're going to want to recommend. Let me just verify. Yeah. 7 is A, Kanekalon. Number 8. Which tool opens the hair shaft's cuticle layer so that protein conditioners and botanical oils can penetrate the cortex layer to hydrate, moisturize, and condition the hair while drying? Are we going to use a hackle, a hooded dryer, a steamer, or a diffuser? So the answer to this one is going to be, we can, obviously we can get rid of a diffuser and a hackle. So your choices are hooded dryer or steamer. Steamer is the route that you want to go, right? It's pushing that moisture into the hair. The hooded dryer, while it does open the cuticle, it's not pushing the moisture in because it doesn't have moisture in it, just the moisture from your head that you already have. But if you use a steamer during your shampoo and conditioning service, it's going to affect the hair a hell of a lot more because you're going to be more hydrated, moisturized, and conditioned. Number 9. Which tool is used to remove tangles in hair that is wet and wavy or dry and curly, as well as in human hair extensions? Are we going to use a soft nylon brush, a vent brush, a pick with rounded teeth, or a tail comb? I do believe it's vent brush. Let me just check. 9 is B, vent brush. So that's the one that we want to use to remove tangles from the hair. Now, we have what's called a wet brush, right? Everybody's pretty familiar with a wet brush, I'm sure. Wet brush is a brand name of a vent brush. So you have to keep that in mind, right? They're not going to say a wet brush. They're going to say a vent brush because that's what that tool is. It just happens to be named wet. Okay. Moving on, number 10. Which procedure helps prepare textured hair for braiding? Apply curl cream to wet hair in order to prevent hair from shrinkage or breaking. Blow dry wet hair with a large paddle brush and work from the ends towards the scalp. Use a soft nylon brush that contains boar bristles and blow dry the hair from the scalp downward. Or D, apply a liberal coating of pomade or texturizing spray to keep the hair from becoming frizzy. I do believe I like C. Let me just verify that. It is B, actually. They like B. Who knew? That's one I got wrong. So blow dry wet hair with a large paddle brush and work from the ends towards the scalp. If you wanted to choose C, let's say you chose C. Here's why, in my opinion, looking at it, why it would not be correct. We should be using a boar bristle brush, but not necessarily a soft nylon brush. And blow drying the hair from the scalp downward is going to create a lot of tangles. So that's why they're saying you blow dry it from the ends towards the scalp. Number 11. Which of the following describes a fishtail braid? Two-strand braid in which the strands are twisted around each other. Single hanging braid that uses an underhand and overhand technique. Two-strand braid that adds hair from the sides as the strands cross each other. Or double strand twisted or coil twisted hair that is wrapped around itself. I believe it's C. Number 11 is C. We're going to do the two-strand braid that adds hair from the sides of the strands and cross each other. That's all a fishtail is, right? You've got that section in the middle and a piece from the left and a piece from the right, piece from the left, piece from the right. You cross them over and it looks like the fishtail when you're done. Number 12. When a client asks for plaits, what kind of braids do they want? This is something that I probably have known my whole life anyways. It's a single braid, right? Let me just verify I'm not wrong. Yeah, D. It is a single braid. There's the same thing. Plait and single braid means exactly the same thing. The other ones don't make any sense, to be honest. 13. What is the process for creating spiral curls on the ends of a single braids that use extensions made with synthetic fibers? Are we going to singe the ends with keratin glue, hot tool? I don't like that at all. Wrap the ends with a curling rod and dip them in hot water? Do believe that's your answer, but we'll look at the rest of them just to make sure. Add a bead to the end and heat it with a ceramic flat iron? No, thank you. Cut the ends while moving up the shaft and soak in cold water. Again, not your ideal way. So your answer for 13 should be B. Yeah. Wrap the ends with a curling rod and then dip them in hot water. Remember, it said synthetic fibers. So we have to be careful how we treat synthetic fibers, right? You can't just go sticking a flat iron necessarily on a synthetic fiber. So 14. What is the maximum length of time layered cornrows can be worn before they must be completely removed to prevent knotting, locking, or thinning hair? Is it 3 weeks, 5 weeks, 8 weeks, or 10 weeks? This is one of those questions you're only going to know if you've read the chapter. So your answer is going to be 8 weeks because it hasn't gone through all of its 3 stages of growth, fall, and replacement. So you're not going to get all the locking and thinning of the hair and the knotting. All right. 15, this is a long one. We love those. A client who has fine, shorter layered hair and a heart-shaped face is attending a special event. Let me think that through. Short layered hair, heart-shaped face. Got it. The client wants a sophisticated braid style that makes the hair look longer and fuller. What should the stylist recommend? So these are our options. Invisible braids that include extensions styled with a side ponytail without bangs. Box braids that include extensions styled in a high chignon with bangs. Fishtail braids that include extensions styled in a low chignon with bangs. And cornrows that include extensions styled to frame the face without bangs. So let's break it down a little bit. First of all, you've got 2 with bangs and 2 without bangs. We've got to decide, is someone with a heart-shaped face supposed to have bangs or no bangs? I am relatively a heart-shaped face, right? My chin comes down to a point. I've got a widow's peak, right? It's almost like exactly like a heart. So for me, I have to wear some type of a bang across my face. I can wear a full bang, I can wear a partial bang, but you have to wear some type of a bang across your face. So that illuminates A and D. Now, do we want a fishtail braid with extensions styled as a low chignon, or box braids that include extensions styled as a high chignon, both of them with bangs? I would go with the high chignon because it's going to pull everything back and it's going to fill that bottom in a little bit better. If you have a low chignon, it doesn't quite look as full, where a high chignon is very full. And that was one of the things that they wanted. They wanted it to longer and fuller. So a high chignon is going to work great with someone who has fine, short layered hair. Number 16. Which braids are created by using an inverted braid around the entire head? Around the entire head. Plaits, box braids, halo braids, or cornrows. It should be halo braids. It's actually going around the top of the head like a halo. So let me just verify. Yes, it is 16 is C. Halo braids is what's created by using an inverted braid around the entire head. 17. What technique is used to integrate extensions for single braids? 2-strand overhand, 3-strand on the scalp, double strand twisted, or 3-strand underhand. Okay, a single braid is done with 3 strands. So it's either 3-strand on the scalp or 3-strand underhand. Single braids are not on the scalp, right? They come out of the head. They're not like a cornrow. They come out of the head. So it's going to be your 3-strand underhand. 17 is D. So that is your answer. Number 18. Which style uses extensions and shows mostly faux hair when finished? Tree braids, visible braids, individual braids, or halo braids? I do believe it's C. Let me just verify. It's A. Tree braids. That's the one. I knew I was going to get this one wrong because I don't recall what the name tree braids means other than it the fake hair is showing most when it's finished. So you're going to have to just kind of keep that one in mind. I missed that one myself, but try and remember that tree braids is when your faux hair is showing when you're finished. What type of brush is good for releasing tangles, knots, and snarls in short textured hair and long straight hair? Boar bristle, square paddle, vent, or round? I do believe we're talking about a square paddle. Number 19 is B, square paddle. So it's great for releasing tangles, knots. It doesn't matter if the hair is short and textured or long and straight. It's going to work for both. Number 20. Which blow dryer attachment loosens the curl pattern in textured hair for braiding styles and dries, stretches, and softens textured hair? So do we want to use a diffuser, a concentrator, a comb nozzle, or a butterfly clip? We can get rid of butterfly clip. That has nothing to do with your blow dryer. A diffuser is going to impart more curl. It's not going to stretch it, and it's not going to soften that textured hair. Concentrator is for pushing all of the air from your blow dryer in one spot, and you would need a brush with that. But the attachment for your blow dryer that allows you to straighten or stretch textured hair is your comb nozzle. You put your comb nozzle on and you run it through the hair in sections, nice and slow, nice and neat, small sections, in order to stretch out that hair and make it a little softer. Which manufactured synthetic fiber is used for hair extensions and is durable, soft, and less inclined to tangle than many other synthetics? Kanekalon, yarn, synthetic, or rayon? Well, I believe I knew this one already from a previous question. It's Kanekalon. It is a synthetic fiber. It's very durable. It's very soft, and it's not going to tangle as much as other synthetic fibers. 22. What is a simple two-strand braid in which the hair is picked up from the sides and added to the strands as they are crossed over each other? This is essentially the same question that we had earlier. It asked what was a fishtail braid. I said it was picked hair up from the sides and added to the strands as it crossed over each other. So we know the answer to that one is going to be C, fishtail braids. Let me just verify that. Yes, C is your answer. The indivisible braid, also known as the blank braid, is a 3-strand braid that is produced when an overhand technique or overlapping the strands of hair. Box, fishtail, inverted, or visible. So an invisible braid, I believe, is a box braid, but I'm not sure. It could be inverted. Let's look. 23 is C, inverted. Okay. So the invisible braid and the inverted braid is one that it's like a cornrow, right? It stays to the head. You overlap the strands of hair. It is a 3-strand braid. 24. Blank, also known as cane rows, are narrow rows of visible braids that lie close to the scalp and are created with a 3-strand on the scalp braiding technique. Well, the same name for cane rows is cornrows. So your answer should be B, cornrows is your answer. Cane rows, cornrows. Remember that. They're the same thing. Number 25. Last question. Which of the following is not true about lock extensions? They can be done with additional human hair or synthetic fibers. They can be prefabricated and sewn onto individual braids. They can only be created with an extension braid wrapped into afro-textured hair, or they can be attached using the crochet locking method. I believe our answer is C. Yes. It can, it's not true. Like, you don't have to braid hair on afro-textured hair. You don't have to lock only afro-textured hair. You can lock more Caucasian hair, I guess you would say. I don't like to say it that way because to me, hair is hair. It's either kinky, coily, curly, wavy, or straight. I don't care what's attached to. I care what the hair is. So that's my take on it. But the answer to this question is going to be C. That's not true. It doesn't have to be on afro-textured hair only. So there are your 25 questions. You're not guaranteed to get any of these on your test. You'll probably get a couple of them. They pull from a bank of usually 100 to 150 questions, and then you're going to get so many of those questions depending on what the instructor has deemed appropriate for that test. Could be 20, could be 30, could be 50, so on and so forth. So best of luck on your test, and I will see you next time for chapter 14.